Listen, baby, just because you call them prophetess, just because you call them pastor, just because you call them woman of God, man of God, sister, brother in Christ, uncle, auntie, niece, nephew, whoever it is, just because they hold a title in your life, baby, it does not mean that they are happy for you, that they want you to grow, and that they want you to glow. So listen, y'all, the word for today is they're not who they pretend to be. The word for today is they're not who they pretend to be. And so, y'all, before we get into this word, I just want to thank all of you for your seeds in this season. I thank you for donating into this ministry. I thank you for pouring into me, whether it's through encouraging words or your seeds of donation. Y'all, these seeds are literally helping me do this full time. It is pushing the kingdom forward. Again, I am living off this. This is the platform. Whatever you guys pour into me, this is it. And I'm humbly saying thank you on today for everything that y'all are doing for me. I truly appreciate it. Please know that I love you and that I see you. I see you, I see you, I see you. So thank you. Now, y'all, let's get into this word. This is a prophetic word, and this word is very specific. It's not for everybody, but there's something in here that is for everybody. We can all feast off of something in this message, but it's very specific for somebody. They're not who they pretend to be. And so, y'all, I had a dream last night that I was cleaning up my house. I was happy. I was cleaning up my house. I had got finished with the last part of it. I was sweeping the floor, and I was just looking around like, man, my house look good. It's clean in here. Like, I was feeling good. Y'all know when you have a clean house, it just opens up the whole space. It opens up your mental. It makes you feel like you have some clarity. There's some, some organization in your life. And I was feeling good. I had swept the floor, and I was like, okay, good. But the moment I got finished sweeping, a guy came in with his broom. And he began to sweep, but his broom, some kind of way, it accidentally got wet, or it was already wet. I don't know, but he came in and started sweeping in my house. He was coming as if he was a help to me. And when he started sweeping, because his broom was wet, I started to see the dirt on the floor. Now, before then, it looked like everything was clean. Everything was ready to go. I was feeling good about myself. But when he came in and called himself helping with his wet broom and started sweeping, I started seeing the dirt on the floor. And so I intentionally got my broom and wet the broom because I'm like, I know you lying. So I wet the broom and I began to sweep. But as I started sweeping, y'all, it was so much dirt on the floor. So much dirt on the floor. And so I was just so outdone by the fact that with the natural eye, it looks like everything was clean. But as I began to sweep, y'all, it just got out of control. And so I was sweeping so hard until it came on I came across a spot that had the carpet was missing on this spot, but it didn't even have the floor underneath. Underneath the carpet was like a hole with concrete. But y'all, I was so outdone that my floor was so dirty like that I even swept over that. I just kept sweeping and kept sweeping. It was bundles and bundles of just like dust and dirt. And I was just so outdone because I thought that the house was clean. I was ready to go. I was feeling good about myself. And here comes this guy who's coming to help me. And I'm seeing now all this dirt. So that was the end of the dream, right? Listen, y'all. When I got up this morning and I was just laying in the bed, just having, some quiet time praying, trying to see what God wanted me to speak on today. And if this dream was one of them, and he says, yes, listen, there's people in your life who's pretending that they for you. They're pretending that they're rocking with you, but they're really not. And so let me give y'all the meaning of this dream. God says, they may appear to be one way, but their core is dirty. They give you godly advice, yet they have not swept around their own front door. Be careful in the counsel that you seek. Be careful in the counsel that you seek. He says they appear to be one way, but the core is dirty. Y'all remember I said I had cleaned up my house. I was clean. I was ready to go. And then here comes the help. with his broom, with his toxic stuff, his wet broom, and started to call himself helping me. But y'all, as I began to sweep with my wet broom, I told y'all I came across a part in the floor where it looked like it was just a hole, but underneath it was like concrete. Instead of me lifting up the carpet and seeing the floor, I went instantly to that concrete. That was that core. He says they appear to be one way, but their core is dirty. He was showing me that the core of this thing is dirty, but I kept sweeping over that because I was so outdone by the fact that this floor was dirty. These people in your life that's holding these titles as prophets, as pastors, as leaders, as mentors. It could even be your aunt and uncle who call themselves know God, but they really only know scriptures. They don't have no real relationship. He's talking about those people. Because in the next thing, he says they give you godly advice. For him to highlight that they're giving you godly advice, these are people who are walking around who you might think are of God, who you might think just because they go to church with you, just because you calling them sister, brother in Christ, just because before you came into the light, you thought that they had it all together. No, sir, no, ma'am. Now that your light has been cut on, now that you are moving forward, now that you know better, your light exposes their darkness. Your light exposes their darkness. And because of that, that woman of God, that prophetess, that deacon, that pastor, these people who are trying to give you godly advice, they are now seeing you as the light. They now see you as a threat. They now see you as competition. And so he says, they give you godly advice, yet they have not swept around their own front door. People will try to tell you what thus said the Lord. People will try to tell you how you should move, where you should go, what you should do, how you cannot wear this, you cannot say that. But yet they have not cleaned out their own closets. They have not swept around their own front doors. But they will talk you down and talk you out of your blessing if you are not careful. He says, be careful in the counsel that you seek. So again, y'all, because we are chosen, because we have that light, even the best of them will fall when they come in contact with you. And that's not in a boastful way. What I'm saying is God chose you, you chose him. And now that he has sealed you on your forehead, baby, you are sealed now. You are married to the Father. Your instructions come from him. And because your light is now starting to brighten up, these people are now envious. They're now jealous. They now feel like you're a competition. You're a threat to them when it's not even like that. And let me tell y'all something else. Another chosen one can even feel like that about you. We're all on different levels. We all have different assignments. Another chosen one can literally have envy and jealous in their hearts about you, your assignment, and your walk with Christ. So because of your light, you are now exposing these people's darkness. He says, they are not who they pretend to be. Dirt. The core of them is dirty. I don't care how many scriptures they quote. I don't care how many times they go to Bible study. I don't care what they told you in the past and you thought that that was true. Now the truth is coming to light. And even though you, with your kind heart, with your big heart, with you wanting to see everybody elevate, trying to give everybody, pour into everybody, even you doing all of that will not help them. They cannot take advice from you. They can't truly be your friend. They can't sit up and try to motivate you, not for real, because they are too envious and jealous of what God is doing in your life. Again, because of your light, these things are now starting to be exposed. These people are now starting to be exposed. They're not who they pretend to be. Okay? In this journey, y'all, that I've been on, I have not had any real mentorship, any real counseling. Everything that I've learned has been from the throne, has been from God. His revelation, his wisdom, everything, my instructions, what to do, how to do, everything has been from God. And as a matter of fact, I started out thinking that I was going to have somebody in my corner to support me, holding titles in the church, knowing scriptures, but yet the core of them, their heart is tainted. Their heart is dark. Their intentions aren't right. And so God quickly cut that thing off. And from there forward, he told me that I will not have anybody like that. He is my counsel. He is my rock. He is my provider. He gives me the instructions. And I went through a season when I'm like, God, I know you're telling me these things, but can you just please send some kind of confirmation? Can somebody prophesy to me? I have not received one soul yet that's been able to prophesy into me and tell me what thus said the Lord. And I got to be honest, we shouldn't be walking around with an itchy ear anyway. But this was in the beginning of my journey where I'm just like, I don't know whether this is you or the enemy talking to me. Can you send the confirmation? And God is like, I am it. I am he. I am your counselor. You don't have to seek outside of me. And that's where you are. Now that you have come in contact with the I am, now that you know you're chosen, now that you have chosen him, he is your everything. You don't have to seek outside of that for nothing. You don't need validation from nobody. These people now are seeing you as a threat, so they cannot give you godly advice. They cannot give you counsel anymore because they feel like you are elevating too fast. You are now moving above and ahead quicker than they are. They're not who they pretend to be. Again, this prophetic word is very specific, but we can all learn in this. When God starts revealing things to you, when God starts telling you how to move, what to do, who to cut off, we don't have to tell that to anybody. As a matter of fact, when he gives us those things in our private time, we hold that close to our heart because the devil comes to sift us. The devil wants to make sure that we do not move forward. So he will use any and everybody and anybody. So the ones that you think are for you, those are the very ones that he will use because they're so close to you. They're easily triggered. They can easily be manipulated. They're the closest vessel to you. And so those are the people he will use. And so y'all, as I was packing up this morning, getting ready to get up, because I was literally laying in the bed, just listening. And I was like, okay, let me get up from here. I got the word. Let me get up, write some of this stuff down so that I can move forward and get on this camera, right? But the moment I got ready to get up, I heard the song Ring Around the Roses. So I'm like, that's so random, God. What are you trying to tell me through this song? Is it connected to this word and you want me to go forth with that? Or is it something else? So I laid there for a little while and he told me that song is connected to this word. Y'all know, ring around the roses, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. And so I'm going to get into that real quick. And then I'm going to tell you why he said that, because he gave me a message connected to that. It's all tied in together, y'all. So ring around the roses, the origin of that. This song is said to be about a great plague of London in 1665, the last major outbreak of the bubonic plague in England. And so now let's break down the meaning of this so you will know exactly what God is trying to tell you, whoever this message is for. And again, we can all feast off this. But it's very specific for somebody in their destiny right now. Ring around the roses refers to the red rings that started to develop on plague victims' skin. These red rashes that were circular would later develop into large and very painful black boils on the skin. Pockets full of posies stems from the lack of knowledge at the time about how diseases spread. I'm going to read that again because that's so prophetic. Pockets full of posies stems from the lack of knowledge at the time about how diseases spread. It was believed that the disease was spread through bad smells, which means people held bunches of flowers to their faces when going out in public to protect themselves from the bad smells. Let's go on. Ashes, ashes is said to have two possible meanings. The first meaning is that it was meant to mimic a sneezing sound in reference to being sick. The other is that it's actually about the burning of the dead bodies from the victims of the plague. And so now let's close this thing out. We all fall down is about the many people who died from the plague. The falling down is said to represent death, and everyone falls down or dies. Ring around the roses, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. That was the song that God referenced this morning, connected to this message. So now let me tell you what he's saying about this, because it's so important for those of you that this is for. God says, those you seek counsel from has been hit with the plague. Their desire is to contaminate and poison the very thing I've instructed you to do. Take heed to my word. Y'all, he had me to write mine in caps and I underlined it. He says, take heed to my word or your destiny will soon be ashes. That is the word of the Lord. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not adding anything to that. I pray you take heed. I pray that this serves as a message for all of us. Continue to move forward. Continue to be vigilant and careful. Be mindful. I love you all so much. Continue to grow. Continue to grow. Continue to grow. I love you all so much. Stay blessed, y'all. Until next time, y'all be easy. Peace.